Up next, we hit the streets of Bataan for a unique bike race, an event that encourages riders at any level and skill to compete. The race provides a professional experience in a non-stress fashion. The riders will pass by Rancho Bernardo, a luxury villas and resort that is nestled within lush mountains and infinite landscape. It's a mix of Europe, Bali, and the Philippines, with amazing accommodation, amenities, and food that will please any appetite. Suited for a weekend getaway, weddings, business, or whatever your heart desires. Rancho Bernardo is the first mountain resort in Bataan. Our bikers will pass right by, and you'll ride with them as their sports travel adventure continues.
Allow yourself to have fun. Savor the surprises. Fly to new discoveries with Philippine Airlines.
Sports Travel Adventure is being brought to you by Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino. By La Jolla Beach Resort. By Rancho Bernardo Luxury Villas and Resort, the first luxury mountain resort in Bataan. They really are the heart of the Filipino. When you travel to the Philippines, fly Philippine Airlines.
The main things to keep in mind are body positioning, braking, and looking at it. On steep descents, you'll be standing on the foot pegs with your body to the rear of the bike. Sometimes you'll have your butt on the rear fender when it gets really steep. This not only prevents you going over the bars, but puts extra weight on the rear wheel to get extra braking. Your arms will be almost straight, but don't lock your elbows, as you will still need to steer the bike. Keep your body loose and let the bike move around. Too often, we tense up on steep descents. Use both brakes, with most emphasis on the front. On loose terrain, you should be able to just apply enough brake to where the front wheel is starting to lose grip. That should give you maximum braking power. The front brake, of course, provides most of the braking power. The back brake stabilises the bike on the way down. Having one finger always on the clutch is useful here, as you can pull the clutch in if the rear wheel threatens to lock up, and you can avoid stalling the bike.
This part's definitely a little bit steeper than the upper part, and it's also pretty dry today. Just try and keep your weight to the back. You know, the rear tire's not going to do much. It is going to help though, but all your weight's going to be on the front end. You know, a dirt bike is designed to be level. That's how the suspension is supposed to work. So when you're going down a steep hill, everything is on the front. So that's why you got to go heavy on the front brake without locking it up. So
if you use rear brake on this hill, you're just going to slide all the way down, gain speed, and run right into the bushes at the bottom unless you have someplace to run out. And that's one of the #1 myths about riding downhill or riding off-road, is that you should be using the rear brake. The rear brake is secondary. It's a rudder. It's a way to help control the bike. Even on a downhill with loose dirt like this, the front brake is primary. What I'm going to do is just show you what happens if I try to do this with rear brake only. There we go, rear brake only. Oh, don't cuss, don't cuss, don't cuss. All right, here we go. Front brake, front brake, front brake, front brake. Okay, whew. That is a terrifying experience. And if that's the experience that you have when you're riding down hills, you need to polish your skills a little. It starts at 28 degrees, but it continues to get steeper all the way to the bottom, where it finishes off at 35 degrees with zero runoff straight into the other trees and bushes. I'm going to keep my control as long as possible. My weight's a little to the rear. Get a little slide to the back, a little extra front. There we go. And I'm letting the back just sort of work like a sea anchor almost. Brake. When I'm doing this, I'm just changing pressure at the lever. I start with the brake light on. Braking downhill is just like braking anywhere else. Just you have to be more delicate and more precise.
Welcome to Mount Banoy.
And of course, whatever goes uphill, well, we gotta go downhill. Going downhill on this very steep slope is very sketchy, to say the least. And if you're not really a skilled rider, we really suggest that you try to refrain from going too fast. Rim brakes, I've seen a lot of rims warp from too much braking, and this is the primary reason why we have to put all the weight at the back. Because like a motorcycle, the weight of a motorcycle, the way the engineer designs it, is that the engine and all the weight is at the back to make sure that the stability of the bike is very well controlled. You can also notice that in a motorcycle, the disc brake is so much larger in the front because this allows you to get the maximum stopping power, but all the weight is at the back to make sure that you don't flip over the bars. And we only do this when our speed exceeds 70, sometimes 80 kilometers per hour. And in the Philippines, because we're not on closed roads, we have to have the ability to brake anytime we want without flipping over. So this is just really basic physics. The lower your center of gravity, the more stable the bike becomes. The more weight at the back makes your bike become more stable. Now, when you get on the flatter roads, we'll try to break our ride record from last year. And the way to do it is go as fast as possible on the downhill safely. Now, this style of riding is, you can say it's a little bit advanced, but the main principle is the lower you are on your bike, the more stable the bike rides. The more that your weight is at the back, the more that you can control the brake in front. So this allows, well, me to brake really hard using the front brake and not flip over. The other benefit for me is I can be as aerodynamic as possible and go at 50 to 70 kilometers per hour without making any effort. But most importantly, this posture gives me a lot of confidence just in case a dog crosses the road or a jeepney suddenly swerves. It gives me the confidence to brake so hard and not flip over. So those are some of the advantages. Tom here, Z, you can see how fast everything goes when everyone is on an aerodynamic posture. It just saves you a lot of time and brings you to the bottom of the hill at the shortest possible time. Z does exactly the same posture, same as Tom, same as Charles, same as Nikki. And this is when biomechanics really gets amplified. The way you ride your bike is or has more real life benefit that can complement your bike fitting. So bike fitting is a good start for newbies, but it doesn't end there. You have to learn how to ride your bike, and riding with a community like CRZ, and this is part of the program. So when you get bike fitted and you do your biomechanics workshop, part of it is it gives you the opportunity to ride with this, just like M, just like the individuals or just like the gentleman that you see on this video. Joining the workshops or rides like this is free already. It's part of the package. It's a lifetime package. There's no monthly fee, there's no annual fee, there's nothing. It's just a one-time service when you enroll on a bike fit and biomechanics workshop. Because we just think that to be able to continue the same lifestyle and sustain the same hobby, it would be so nice for you to join us on cycling challenges like this. Audax, it can also be races. Although not everyone prefers racing, but there is an opportunity for you to do racing apprenticeship. We call it apprenticeship because you get to learn. Charles and M, first, second.
Wow, this medal is, we really worked hard for this. The Mayon challenge is really a challenge. So on behalf of CRZ, we want to thank JCI for organizing this race. So, first, second, third. Thank you very much, boys.
Here's an example of actual clip how the position is used on the big major European tours. that might help you on your research and, well, additional learning. Remember, it doesn't hurt to learn something new. A word of caution: you will not be able to do this if your bike does not fit you. So it's really just basic physics. The example here is Marco Pantani, one of the most prolific climbers in Tour history. Plus, he has this panache in attacking downhills, because if you cannot downhill well, all your uphills will just be useless. So what it says here is that the traditional tuck, that is the most fastest. The reason why we don't recommend that here in the Philippines is because you need to be very confident in your handling and you don't have access to the brakes. In this position where the weight is all over the rear wheel, it gives you good control and allows you to brake anytime you want, which is very applicable to Philippine roads. A quick reminder again: if your bike is too long for you, so for example, you've been suffering from numb fingers, numb hands, that's already an indication that your bike is too long and it does not fit you. So the technique that was discussed on this episode will be very difficult for you to execute properly. So give your local bike fitter a visit, or any of your friends, and get your bike properly sized, or else it's going to be impossible.